Norwegian curler Magnus Nedregotten attained valuable experience from 3 Winter Universiades, having won gold at Granada 2015 and bronze 2 years later at Almaty 2017. Nedregotten built upon this success, carrying momentum to Pyeongchang 2018 and the recent Beijing 2022 Olympic Winter Games. Competing at the Ice Cube alongside longtime partner and spouse, Kristin Skaslian, they won a silver medal in mixed doubles. Just 3 points short of gold, behind their Italian opponents, Amos Mosner and Stefania Constantini. Still, for a winter sports crazed nation, more accustomed to bringing home Olympic medals in alpine and Nordic skiing, it was a tremendous achievement, celebrated throughout Norway. But this dynamic duo is not done just yet. All stones appear on ice headed toward Milano Cortina 2026, as they quite possibly will seek a 3rd consecutive Olympic mixed doubles curling medal. Hello and welcome to another edition of the FISU University Legends interview series. I'm Brian Pinelli. And joining us now from Oslo is the recent Olympic silver medalist, 2-time Universiade medalist, and longtime curler, Magnus Nedregotten. Hello, Magnus. How are you doing today?
Hello, I'm very good. Thank you. And thank you for coming.
Yep, great to see you. I know it's been obviously an exciting past month or so. I guess first off, and thanks for taking the time today out of your schedule. We appreciate it here at FISU. I mean, I guess first off, kind of an obvious question, but for someone that's been involved in Norway in the sport for so long, and I know you've been competing alongside Kristin for many years, dating back to, I believe, World Championships in around 2013. Many nice accomplishments, but how does the recent experience and success in Beijing compare to everything else?
I mean, it has been an amazing journey last 4 years, and we were quite set to compete for gold in 2022 after we finished in 3rd place in 2018. Yeah. So we have been very direct to people when they ask what is your goal. We always say that we want to be there for the gold medal. Ended up with silver, and to do that with your spouse is something very special. So it feels amazing to have achieved almost your big dream, and yeah, it has been good days after we came home from Beijing.
And it was a hard-fought gold medal match. If I'm not mistaken, you were down just 7-5 entering the 8th and final end, so it did come down to the wire. And I'm sure, 2-part question, while maybe there's a slight bit of disappointment, to see Italians who had never medaled before in Olympic curling and now in the new mixed doubles event, just 2 Olympics. I mean, that says something about the growth of the sport and also the discipline of mixed doubles.
Yeah, for sure. And these 2 athletes that we compete against in the final, they are truly special. They have done so well the last 4 years. From being players you expect to beat, they have last season now won a couple of tournaments that we have been playing together with them. And we knew they were going to be a tough team to beat. But the word around the sport has been like, yeah, maybe they're outsiders. Maybe they can get a medal if they have a perfect week. But we always knew they were going to be a tough nut to break. So going into that final, I mean, it felt like 50-50 what was going to... who was going to come out on the other side with the gold medal. And as you said, it was a tight game, but it wasn't that tight. They were actually a little bit better than us in that particular game. So of course, a little bit disappointing just after when you are told to go up on the podium 5 minutes after the game is over. But the aftermath now, I mean, it's a nice experience. And for Italy to get the gold medal, I mean, that's huge for the sport. The games are coming home to Italy in 2026, and I expect it's going to be a lot of people paying attention to the curling in Cortina.
Who knows? With more Italian curling success, maybe it'll overtake soccer as the number one sport here. Well, probably not. Probably not.
Probably not, but quite close, I think.
Magnus, obviously curling has such a tremendous history. It does date back to the first Olympic Winter Games in Chamonix, 1924. After a long hiatus, it became an official medal sport in Nagano, 1998. And now, as is so important in sport in the Olympic movement, obviously gender equality, we're seeing more and more mixed team events across many sports. I know this has been your bread and butter for quite some time, competing in mixed doubles. What do you like about this discipline? And, is there more room for it to grow?
Yeah, well, as you said, gender equality is very important. And I think it's fun to see a boy and a girl competing next to each other in sports in general. I think it's a little quicker kind of curling. So for the spectators, they can put on a game. It'll last 1.5 hours. It'll be shot making all the time, and you are quite tight on time. So decisions are based a little bit more on instinct, which will make it a little bit more action-packed. I think definitely there is room for improvement in this game as well. But the good thing about it is that it's only in need of 2 players. So you usually see 2 extremely good players from each nation, which makes the field in the Olympics very, very equal. So you'll have interesting games in every draw. For the future, I think it'll be more and more popular. And we need to have competitions aside from the Olympics that is a little bit bigger as well. So I think that's the next step, that the quality of the general competition during the year will get a little higher status, so to say.
Okay. Look forward to that. Good for the sport, and definitely an event that really kind of flourished. Let's go back a few years, Magnus, if we may, to the 2015 Universiade. Now, this was the second of your 3 Universiades in Granada, Spain, and you're a 23-year-old, if I'm not mistaken, student. And you're playing on the men's team, and it was a heck of a gold medal match, losing to Russia 6-4 after 8 ends. And you guys came back and scored points in the 9th, the 10th, and if I get this correctly, the extra end, a little bit like American baseball. So I think I understand. And truly an amazing victory. What do you remember about that event and that at Universiade?
Well, let's start with the end. The final there, it was amazing, and truly kind of the highlight of my career so far, because that was the first international victory that I had as a player, to win that university game. University games is huge in curling. It's like a U25 World Championship. So it's bigger than the Junior Worlds, and it's like close to a World Championship. It only happens every 2 years. So it's huge. And I remember the last stone. We did not have the last stone. The Russians had the last stone. So we just had to figure a way to make it as hard as possible for them on our last stone. So we are taking time out. The coach is coming out. I just remember the whole team was so prepared to do it as good as possible. And as we did that last stone, the coach was standing right next to the sheet. I remember everyone was so focused. We did it perfectly. And then the Russians are going to do a shot that isn't that hard, but we have made it as hard as possible for them. So they have like 1 meter to stop that last shot on. And I remember I'm just following that stone, and the time is like almost standing still.
Yeah.
Half an hour, that stone was sliding through the sheet of ice, and then it suddenly just stops, and it stops 10 centimeters. And the next thing I remember is that I'm like 1 meter off the ground looking down, because I was like jumping. So I remember just that whole scenario as something of pure joy. Standing there with my teammates that time was amazing. I mean, it was so unexpected to win that game. It was the Russians Olympic team that was there.
Wow.
And wow, it was unbelievable.
And looking at the bigger picture, and you started to allude to it, the importance of curling at the Winter Universiade. You competed in three, 2013 there in Trentino, 2015, as we just discussed, and 2017 in Almaty. I mean, that's an impressive resume of Winter Universiades. I mean, what do you take from those three as a whole? I mean, not just the competition aspect, but I don't know, maybe it was the first time you were in an Olympic village with athletes from other sports, other countries. Just tell us a little bit about the big picture and what you learned. What was your experience from those, Magnus?
Yeah, competition wise, it's like a simulation of the Olympics. So when you look back, that experience you gain from going to 3 universiades have obviously done it easier to come into the Olympics and perform right off the grid. So, and there's a village, you meet a whole lot of other people from different nations, which is amazing in sport. I mean, it's really a seed to create friendship and mutual understandings across nations. So it has been a good lesson for me, both as a curling player to achieve my goals, but also as a person, I mean, to experience these different cultures in that setting. And there is one thing in Norway, curling is kind of, it's big when you see the results, but it's very small in number of players. I've been lucky and been one of the few that has been good enough, being able to go to all these university games. The fact that we are so few means that you can go to a lot of these events. So that has been alpha omega for my development to be in all these championships.
Good to hear. We like to hear that here at FISU. Thanks, Magnus. And then you competed again, as mentioned there in Almaty, won a bronze medal. Now, my question is, what is the fascination with curling? Okay, it's obviously very strategic. You can make the argument that ice hockey is also very strategic. I mean, all winter sports, of course, Nordic and Alpine to a degree, but it's absolutely compelling, and maybe not everybody understands, but for the TV viewing audience, especially during these Beijing games where the audio is better than ever before, to hear the various players discussing strategy. I mean, it's interesting and sometimes tough to comprehend.
Yeah, for sure. Now when me and my wife's at the Olympics, then many of the headlines is they're arguing for open microphone. He called her this, she called him that. And so it's kind of a reality as well. But the big appeal for me to be out there is the constant battle of keeping a straight focus and focus on the things that will make you do your next shot, which is hard because it goes over 2 hours. You have a lot of times when you have time to think, and you have time to think about many other things than what is good for you. So that fight mentally against yourself is maybe some of the most interesting parts for me.
And it's interesting too, I'm here near Cortina, and we'll talk about 26 in a little bit. But, speaking to friends and family back home, when John Schuster and Team USA won that gold medal in Pyeongchang, my father said it's become like a cult following, curling. Like Schuster became a hero pretty quickly, and everyone's just, so interested in the unique personality, and obviously his teammates are. So it's a sport that has a growing presence in the greater landscape of many sports.
It does. It's a great sport for making personalities, because you get so well known with them when you listen to them with the microphone and you see how they act with each other. And it's very interesting as well in the Olympics. You sometimes see that the expected best team doesn't win. So in 2002, you had Paul Trulsen and you had John Schuster in 2018. They were not favorites. They were big underdogs going all the way to the top. And this game is like that. The stone is a circle, and a lot of things can happen. So for sure, good entertainment when you get new profiles like that coming up.
Absolutely. I agree. Hey, Magnus, just backtracking a little bit. We talked about the three Universiades. Can you just kind of update us at the time where you were a student in Oslo, or just tell us a little bit about your university studies? Because I guess at some point you were juggling studies and competition.
Well, to make a long story a little short, I was actually an alpine skier before I started to curl.
I knew
So
that.
I started off at a ski school in Norway. I was one of the elite in my age when I was 15, 16 years old. I got an injury, and to be honest, I wasn't too good off by myself in an internat. What is it called? You know, when you live alone, when you're that young on the school building, so to
Yeah.
say. So me and the other Alpine guys, we didn't behave too good one year there. So some of us got expelled actually. That's what happened. That's when I started to curl. Or I had curled before, but that's when I started to seek out my dream of getting an Olympic medal, because all starts there. I really wanted an Olympic medal from when I was a child. So I started to study sports at the Norwegian University of Sports Science. At the same time as I was practicing every day to become as good as possible in curling. And a typical day was school from 8 to 2 o'clock, and then in the curling rink from 2 to 5. And I was laying down a huge amount of hours from the year I turned 16. So I got my 10,000 hours just last year, actually. And I mean, it has been studies and sports combined in most of the years.
Well done. Well done. Kudos to you for juggling, obviously, those two important acts. Magnus, want to look ahead, if you don't mind, a little bit to 2026. The Olympic Winter Games return to Cortina, Milano and Cortina. Cortina last hosted in 1956. Curling will be at the Olympic Ice Stadium in Cortina, where the opening ceremony, ice hockey, figure skating was back in 1956. Hockey and figure skating will be up the road up in Milano, but curling will be front and center at the historic Olympic Ice Arena in downtown Cortina. I mean, that just sounds exciting, even thinking about that.
Yeah, it does. I've been there, played once actually in the summer. It was a Bonspiel, just social Bonspiel, where me and a buddy teamed up with two Swiss girls. So we were really enjoying that arena. It's like wooden arena. I'm not sure what they're going to do about it for 26. I think they will keep it authentic, maybe some small tweaks here and there. But and the place, I mean, you have the Dolomites, you have so many spectacular sceneries that you can enjoy during the Winter Olympics. So I'm definitely set on going back to the Olympics, hopefully in 26.
And no pressure, Magnus, but I think I am not in Norway net right now, but I'd like to think that most of Norway would like to see you competing side by side once again with Kristin. Possibility that may happen.
There's a possibility for that. If it was only up to me, I think I would say definitely. But there's one other person involved in that discussion, and
rightly so.
Just started to speak about that, how the future is going to look like for us. So there will be a decision made there during the spring now, and but for sure, if I could choose, I would maybe compete in both, as many did in 2022 now. So what is certain is that I'm going to try my best going there, either with the boys or with Kristin, or both.
Final question, Magnus, and then I'll let you run. This past weekend, we saw the retirement of one of Norway's greatest alpine skiers ever, Kjetil Jansrud, making his last run there in Kvitfjell. Multiple times Olympic medalist, and his accolades just go on and on alongside Aksel Lund Svindal. I believe Jansrud 35, 36, but for a curler. Now, I know you guys are very athletic guys, most of you, but is there a longer time span if the focus is here to compete as a curler into your 40s? And, could we see that from you?
Yeah, that is a multifaceted question, I think. You see, I don't think it's a problem with the physics at all. I think you could be on a good level even if you're close to 50, for sure. But it has been a rapid growth in the skill level the last couple of years. So you see that those who have the platform, so to say, from early age, they are now kicking the old guys down from their thrones. So you need to kind of have had the top athlete mindset from the beginning, I think. So you see that the average age is now reduced drastically the last 20 years. So it's about keeping it professional, trying to do your best and unlock enough time to do what the best guys do. You see Team Mowat, the Scottish guys, the young Scottish guys, they are so professional. So you have to really struggle to keep track with them. But I'll certainly try as long as my head is focused, and I think it's possible.
Good to know. Good to know. And looking forward to the summer. I don't know when the ice melts in Norway, maybe not till July, but looking forward to some time away from the ice.
Yeah, definitely. Me and my wife, we planned to go to Kilimanjaro 2 years ago, but then the COVID hit us. That was going to be our honeymoon, actually. So now there is new talks about doing a trip like that. We like to hike on mountains or doing something adventurous when we are not curling. So something like that, maybe in the summer, will be very nice.
All right, a well-deserved break. Both you and the missus deserve it. So congratulations again, Magnus. It's great to hear your Universiade experiences and how much weight they played in the succession of your career. And let's keep in touch in FISU and enjoy a little bit of time away from the Stones.
Thank you very much for having me. That was very fun.
Thanks, Magnus. And thank you for joining into this edition of the FISU University Legends interview series, where we profile Universiade athletes that have gone on to bigger and better achievements, both on and off the field of play. I'm Brian Pinelli. We'll see you guys soon.